Alright, so here's a little state of the game update. And there's really not a whole lot to show off because it's at such an early state that it's mostly me just trying out different features and plugins and triggers and different mechanical operations and functions. So, but there's a tiny bit to show you. I can't even remember for this update some of the mechanical behind the scenes stuff to show you. But here's an example of the graphical style, the aesthetics. I just slapped together. It's not even a working map really. It's just showing some of the different graphics I went with. If you look at the little dude just slowly walking around, that's default graphics sets from RPG Maker MV, while the two characters I'm controlling are from the new art style set, which is, I think, called Time Fantasy. And you can look that up, you can Google it and find it. The one on the right was originally what I had, but then I realized the sizing was wrong, so the character in front, the one I'm actually controlling, is the larger one. That's actually the size that will be, the default size that I'm shooting for. I really like the aesthetic and the style. The only drawback is the overall amount of graphical assets the original artist has is somewhat limited, but what he has is really amazing. I mean, I think it looks really cool. So a lot of this has to be updated because he recently updated the tile sets for MV, while these you're looking at were taken from the ones formatted specifically for an older game engine. So that's something to keep in mind. That will be changed, but it's a good look at the graphical art style. I love it, especially for the characters. You can see more emotion can be expressed. I can have animations where they have a mouth and like maybe jump or hop and throw their hands in the air and look surprised or scared or even sad. I just like that better. Just overall, I like the aesthetic. Now, what I'm really working on right now is trying to get the combat screen the way I want, and that's the hardest for me. I'll get into a fight here and show you, but these are more examples of the graphics that I'm shooting for. So here's the combat screen. So here's what we're looking at and where we stand and what I'm shooting for. I'll let you know what I'm shooting for. In the top left is a turn-based gauge, and of course underneath that is the menu that the default menu that pops up. This one just currently has a different border that I have implemented that will change. And the top right is sort of a default character status bar window. Below the characters is a little gray bar, and that's like a party gauge bar that is from a plugin. Same with the turn-based gauge in the top left. That's a different plugin. So I don't know if I'm going to be keeping the turn-based gauge or the party gauge bar. It just depends on how well it works with the skill system that I want to use for my characters. What else you're seeing here is the tiny character on the right is a default battle character for RPG Maker MV. The one above it is a mock-up I just sort of like yoinked from a sprite sheet from a different game. This is actually from a licensed game, so I'm only using this for testing purposes. But it does show, because he's sort of bobbing left and right, it does show that I can have much larger player characters, and they can still move. And I believe the default frame limit, and I don't know if it's a frame limit, but the default amount of frames for animation is only 3 frames. But I think I discovered that in a lot of licensed games from the past, they only ever used 3 frames. So this guy is bobbing up left and right, but he's not currently animated. I just basically took each frame and used the exact same static image for each frame. It's just he was moved to the left and right a little for consecutive frames, so it appears like he's doing this bobbing. The good news is for me is that he can be animated. So, like for instance, his sword could be gleaming and shining. His loose clothing could be waving in the wind a little bit, or his hair, the locks of his hair could be sort of swaying as if they're being blown by a breeze. So that can be done in an idle stance. So that's kind of cool, and that's definitely something I want to do. But this taller, detailed character is the kind of art style and aesthetic that I want. This is, I was inspired by JRPGs of like the mid to late 90s, and that's even where this character's from. So, as a mock-up, I want to get rid of this menu that pops up in the top left. That's the default menu. And I think it says something like attack, wait, guard, or attack, magic, guard, item. I don't mind having that. Like, what I do like about this is that it's going directly into the fight. But I want to take this square menu from the top left, and apply it to a more graphical, with some text, based menu that can appear either like in front of or maybe above the characters, the actual player characters, bobbing around here. And then, and I'm thinking maybe something circular, so like it would still say things like attack, magic, guard, item. And then there might be like a little icon next to each one. Like attack might have a picture of a sword. And I want to be able to, in this default example, you can use the arrow keys on the keyboard, or you can use a controller to go up and down. And I want that to be the case, but what I want is for it to be like a circle, and at the bottom of the circle would be the image that, or item selection that you're choosing. And then if you like hit left or right on the controller or keyboard, the circle will spin to the next item to appear in the lower part of the circle, right? So that's what I want. If I do keep the turn-based and party gauges, I definitely want to figure out how to change the graphics for them. I haven't figured out how to do that for either the turn-based gauge or the party gauge at all yet. I have had luck figuring out how to alter the look of the character menus and the character status bars. This is a bad example because I have another actually homemade graphical status bar, not made by me, but that shows that you can alter it quite a bit, and there's other versions I like. So another thing I think is when I choose attack, you can see the turn-based gauge changes a little bit. It has some neat functionality, but really what I want to change about this is the board. I just want to change the graphics. I just want to change the borders of each square, of each, showing the enemies or the player character. So let me go ahead and attack, and you see in the middle, and you see a lot of stuff up here. So let me try it one more time, and show you here. This is Teresa attacking. Okay, so in the middle and the left and right, you all see graphical text appear. So let's do this one more time. And you do see the party gauge bar start to fill up below the characters. But so in the middle, so keep your eye on in the top middle of the screen, and you see it says attack and some fancy flowers on each side. I like that, and I can alter it graphically. I think the problem I'm having though with it is later on down the road I'm going to have specific attacks, and I don't want it to just say attack. I might have a normal or basic attack for the characters, but I might want an attack like a super I don't know, this super toxic attack, and I want it to say that. I don't want it to just say attack. So let me get into another fight. So keep your eye on the top left of the screen, and it is somewhat obscured, so just keep your eye on what appears. It's a hit. It basically is a damage counter. It will say damage, and it will have a number of how many times I hit them, and then it'll say damage in red, and below damage it will say the amount of total damage. So there it is, total damage 81. You see, that actually didn't give the hit count. It didn't say 1 times total damage. I don't know why. Let's look at it again. Total damage 74. Okay, I really like that. I might change the graphical styling, but some things that are important to me that you might not notice is I'm building the game with a default resolution of 1080 by 720, I think. Right, well, I don't know if it's true. It's 720. It's like a 720 HD, if you want to call it HD. That's the base resolution I'm building the game to. So the placement of these words, graphics text, are important to me. So we'll see total damage 83. All right. So let's go into another battle. And now look at the top right of the screen, and you'll see a blue graphical text appear. That one says, "Oh, that's the hit chain account. That's the hit number count." It says hit chain, and it'll tell you how many hits, because I want to be able to do combos later on, or multi-attacks from a single character. Let's look at it again. It says, oh, there we just leveled up. So it's a hit chain, and those will appear during pretty much every battle. So here once again, I noticed the X in the 1 times. It's supposed to say a number, and then there's a little X for how many, and then the word hit chain, and it looks like the X is briefly just kind of appearing, like for a split second. I don't know what happened there. I can't explain that. But so I do like the position of the graphical text. Now, the other thing to mention is the battle results screens here. These are all, along with some of the trouble I'm having with the menu the graphical menu placement and style and look. This is another thing I'm having a lot of trouble with, is displaying battle results and what the battle results screen looks like. There's a lot of stuff I want to do, and it's kind of hard at least real hard for me to implement in the game. I want the battle results screen to, cover the whole screen. I don't mind this. There's little tiny white lines, vertical white lines going across here, and I don't know why, but I don't mind. I'd like the battle screen to kind of slide from left to right until it fills up the screen. But it's really hard figuring out how to change where all these graphical and text elements appear and how they appear on the screen. Ideally, I would like to have a full body sprite image similar to the image of the character during battle, and have him just in sort of an idle stance, standing next to his gained XP bar and a little bit of information. And this is sort of this battle spoil screen. And if you level up, you saw that. You saw how you level up and gain attributes, which are all going to be altered as well. So I think that's about it. This has gone on a lot longer than... It always goes on longer than I thought it would. But let me go ahead and go over a battle one more time, just so you can see it a little faster. There's the results, there's the spoils, and you go back into the world. And that's all I have to show, really. Like I said, what I'm working on right now is... Let's see, the few things I'm really trying to work on right now are... I want to get this battle screen worked out. I mean, this is my main project, is the battle screen right now. I want to... I need to get more graphics to test more, to test the enemies and the players. And so I need a ton more animations, because I want to test a lot of fancy graphical stuff, like special attacks. And so my character might do a magic attack where he holds his sword up straight into the air and summons a lightning that comes down and hits his sword, and then he quickly takes that and thrusts it in the direction of the enemy, and maybe zaps them with a giant string of lightning. Even fancier would be maybe he starts spinning, maybe he jumps up into the air off screen, and then I have camera controls that I need to test that can kind of zoom in and then move around the screen, and I'd want that to, like, maybe zoom in on him, then it shows him jump into the air, and then it simulates the camera moving up, and I might do a background transition as well that follows him, that makes it look like maybe speed lines in the background to kind of mimic, to help show that he's jumping up. And then the camera kind of catches up to him in the air, and then he does another, like, maybe he starts spinning and then flies downward in an angle towards the enemy, and the camera kind of follows him down, and then he hits the enemy, and there's a huge attack animation over top of that, and the background might flicker, or the whole screen might shake like it's an earthquake, and then the enemy also takes on a I've been hit kind of animation. That's a lot of stuff going on mechanically, and that's a lot of different graphics strung together. So I need all those graphics before I can start testing that. But the little stuff is, I want to be able to nail down the character status bars, because especially I think I'm going to have a max party size of 4 characters, and that all has to fit snugly on the screen. the what was I gonna say? And the menu for each character has to be able to appear like either maybe in the top left of the top left of each character, or above them, or to the left of them, just to the left of them. I don't know yet. But the point is, I need to be able to wrangle control over how I display this menu bar over here on the top left. And so that's what I want to do next. And then after that, I want more graphics to reiterate or beat a dead horse. I want more graphics so I can start testing all these transitions and sequences and have that worked out. So that's it. That's a status update for you, a very long one. Actually, I might be able to do a magic attack here. No, she doesn't have magic. So he does have magic, so let's do that to show you that, to finish this off. Super shooting spark attack. How about that? There, actually that does show super shooting spark attack. So I got that to work, but with the attacks, I haven't successfully... Oh, I remember what it was. I haven't successfully been able to make the menu say attack, but then have the result say a different name. It seems like the result name is tied to the name on the menu. But that's a look at that. So, thanks for watching. That's an update. I don't know if anybody even watched it the whole way through, but thanks for watching, and I'll try to give you another update, when I actually maybe have something worth updating to show you.